Welcome, everybody. Hi, this is Loretta Graham. Safta speaks Sanity, and I am here with the lovely, talented, brilliant,
thank you,
Gabe Castro.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, say hi to everybody, Gabe, and tell us where I am with you here.
Yeah, so we're at PhillyCAM, which is Philadelphia's community access station, where pretty much anyone in the Philadelphia area or neighboring area can learn how to create content for TV or radio and make their own dreams come true, essentially,
Cool
and learn those tools.
Yeah, and you're a Temple graduate.
Yes.
Yes, and everybody knows I have a thing for Temple with my grandson being a star and everything.
That's awesome.
But more about you. You kind of helped me. It helps me focus because I have all these ideas, but they're all over the place. And Gabe really helped me, like put an A, B, C. In fact, she makes you do it.
Yes.
It's not easy. I was like, can you just do it for me, please? And she's like, no, you really have to do it, you know. And you have to take a class too, okay, honey? It was all these things that I was really kind of resistant about. But Gabe's guidance and her kindness changed my mind.
Oh, good.
And and my persistence to be, to do what I know. I want to say God put me on the earth to do. Mm-hmm. But tell us more about you. So how did you start all this? And you have a podcast as well, don't you?
I do.
So we want to hear about that.
Sure. So how I started here at PhillyCAM, I went to school for media studies and production, specifically television production, because I really wanted to create TV programming as opposed to like film specifically. I started as an intern here at PhillyCAM in 2015, kind of as a whim. I was just trying to find whatever I could to do. Luckily, PhillyCAM took me, and I was running around doing a million different things. And when my internship was done, I kind of stayed on as a contractor, so I would be on their listserv for whenever a shoot came up. I would go out and shoot that, or I edited a lot. I did a lot of transcription, so I put a lot of the closed captioning on programs.
So you're a photographer?
No, for shooting for film.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would do pretty much anything that PhillyCAM needed. Mm-hmm. And then when the job came up for access facilitator, I harassed them until they gave me the job.
Okay.
Because that's how you do it, right? And then as the job, I ended up kind of making my own role here. Because originally I was just supposed to help.
Making your own role?
Role.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. You created your job.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so mine's completely different from what I started with when I first worked here.
So this position didn't exist?
No.
Wow.
No. It's kind of like a hodgepodge of a few positions of people shifting around, but we saw a need for members who, just like you, have a lot of really big ideas, mm-hmm, right? We have people come in who want to create these awesome, amazing pieces and don't know where to start. So I exist here to help kind of whittle that down to something that's more tangible, mm-hmm, so that we can kind of start the building blocks to then eventually get to those big ideas, right? Mm-hmm. So we start with the little pieces, making things applicable and able to get forward so that eventually you can build it up to be the next big thing.
Yeah, taking baby steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Yeah, because I always wanted just jump over the river.
Yeah.
Just jump over everything. Just get to the high mountain,
Yeah. And you're like, how do I get up there?
Yeah.
We're out of oxygen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But, so what are the steps? What do people want? What do you,
Yeah.
And what has been created that some people might know?
That some people might know here at
Mm-hmm.
PhillyCAM?
Yes.
Things that I've helped specifically with. So, we had a member here that people really enjoy his show, who had been here for a long time, for quite a few years, and as one of my first programming consulting, production consulting jobs here was to kind of sit down with him and really help him work through the idea. So he has a show called The Other Tony Bennett Presents, where he features local artists and performs himself, and the crew always has a good time on that show. And it was he had been here at PhillyCAM for years.
Doing what? I mean, what was he
just
doing?
kind of like helping others. Like he would
Okay.
take classes, and he had a lot of ideas. Like, and he still does have a lot of ideas. But it was my job to be like, let's pick one and let's see this one to the end. And now it's regular. It comes on. People get really excited about it. And then more recently, someone came in who had really, really big ideas for a variety show.
Okay.
And there's all these elements to it. And it's this really big to do for Alan Watson. So he has Al's Neighborhood. Which is now, I believe he has submitted his second episode. He took my class, he had consulting with me, and we managed to make it a little easier to manage than what his original idea was. But he finally understood, like, why I was telling him all these challenges that were going to come up. But a big part of my job is, like, I give you these tools and I tell you these things. But a big part of it is also to just let people kind of find out on their own as well. Like, I tell you what to expect and what could happen, but at the end, it's really up to you what happens.
Yeah.
And often,
sounds like you're everybody's mother.
a little,
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I'm a little bit of a guidance counselor.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold anyone's hand or force them to do anything. But I'm definitely here when people come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I should have listened to you when you said that this was going to be a challenge. And I'm not the kind of person that's like, I told you so.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, well,
now
let's do what I said.
Yeah,
like, let's try this one now and try to fix
without
it.
the shame-based
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
Because that's how you learn, really.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell you every way to Sunday how to do a production, but until you experience some of those challenges, you're never really going to understand why those are a challenge.
I love the sign when you first come in. What does it say? Is this something for you and your grandmother, or what do you?
Yeah,
What
it's
is
pretty
that?
much like from. It's just our kind of one of our slogans. It's like encompassing everyone, I guess. So it's just like from this person to your grandmother.
Yeah, to your
a vegan
grandmother.
show, to a
Yeah.
dancer. Yeah.
Yeah, and that I kind of believe that for once when I was helping somebody else, and I looked at that sign, and I said, I don't believe them. I didn't. I'm always wary. But I signed up. To be a member, and then part of that was just to have that intro.
Yes.
Where I met a lot of very interesting people, and then after that, there was the class, class here and there, just the the introduction to the whole place and what you have to offer. So, I mean, would you invite the whole Philadelphia community to come out? Would you like everybody to be sort of educated?
I think anyone who has a dream to create media should use this resource. Like, we are, unfortunately, Philadelphia's best kept secret, right?
Wow.
Like, and it is
You're right down the street from Independence Mall, and I couldn't find a place to park. I had to park in the parking lot, which is great, which is convenient. Remind me when you get a voucher and,
Yes.
Discount. But,
yeah, I think if what's really great about PhillyCAM as opposed to any type of media that you're going to get anywhere is that we really are people-powered media, right? So it is people who are coming here. They're not getting paid. We're non-commercial, so there's no other being that is kind of funneling what content's coming through, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you watch PhillyCAM, you're getting the truth. Like, you're getting someone's honest hard work and dedication, because those are people who have 9-to-5 jobs and then come here to crew on other people's productions so that they can get crew to create just something that they really, really care about, because you have to. Anything that's created here at PhillyCAM, they have to care enough to dedicate a lot of time to. And so I feel like if people feel like they have time and they have something that's worth telling, then they should tell it.
Yeah. Wow. So, wait a minute. So even with my little project, and that's why I came in, because I know I have to make some adjustments. And though this is the time in advance to tweak things before you really go into full-fledged production of something. And I was very comfortable with emailing you and, saying that I needed to come in and talk. I really wanted to be informative for people to contact you. So how could they?
So I'm available for PhillyCAM members. So if you are a PhillyCAM member, from your user account, you're able to book an appointment with me.
But if you're not,
I don't necessarily do consulting services outside of PhillyCAM because my stuff is very in line with PhillyCAM. But if you feel like I am an authority in any subject and you want to hear my thoughts and my passions, you can check out my podcast, which is The Ghouls Next Door.
Okay, now let's talk about that. The Ghouls. I see you're wearing a Ghouls t-shirt.
Yes. I am because
cool.
I have a kind of a press event tonight.
The Ghoul is cool. Okay, yeah.
Yes. My podcast is a horror genre edutainment podcast.
What?
Yes. So we discuss horror, so like the genre of horror, which most people just think about slashers. But we actually talk about the history of certain fears, like why we find those scary, right?
Okay.
Why there's a thrill that comes with fear.
Wow.
We just wrapped on an entire series where we talked about how certain communities are represented in horror. So we started with like sex workers, we talked about black women, we talked about LGBTQIA community, disabilities, mental illness, East Asian representation, Latinx. Like we pretty much covered these like niche groups that are oftentimes villainized in horror, or taken advantage of,
or don't exist,
yeah,
or get killed
tropes.
first.
Yes, those awful tropes that we see time and again.
Yeah.
So we kind of dive into more, like we put on our media analysis classes is what we call them, where we look at the film and we really look at what it's trying to tell us and what it really means, right? It's not just, sometimes there is films that are just fun, which is totally fine, but a lot of the times it is trying to say something, and that film does mean more than what we give it credit for. So we kind of explore that, and then also like the historical or psychological background.
And so there is so much content or in this horror genre that you have a different subject all the time. I mean, how often does this podcast run?
Yeah, so we are weekly. So we have a new episode every week.
Wow.
It's actually this month, because it's October, spooky month, is our 2-year anniversary. So we've been going for a long time. We just hit 10,000 downloads, which is like super exciting. Tonight I'm going to like an event as press because of the ghouls, like because they have those like haunted attractions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say there's like this month we're covering horror writers, right? So we talked about Stephen King last week. This week or next week is Shirley Jackson, Gene Kuntz, Joe Hill, Anne Rice. Like we're we're going to be doing directors in December.
But he's a writer as well, right?
He, he writes for, like, the films, but I don't think he's, like, we were talking more of, like, the prolific, like, horror, like, novelists, right?
Okay,
so, like, and how they've impacted the whole genre. And really diving into, like, the themes and the nuances of their writing and what makes them unique. We just did that representation series, but there's a lot. There's a wealth of information, whether it's the way that certain people are portrayed, whether it's a phobia. We did a whole series on the apocalypse where we covered different types of apocalypses, from like digital to cosmic to robotic to contagions, and kind of talked about like what is the likelihood of that. Like, what would that really look like? But
the contagion thing really is the most scary.
Right? There was some in there that were pretty terrifying.
Really scary.
I think cosmic.
Because that's the most. Scary. You're on buses, you're on trains.
Yes.
Somebody sneezes and.
Like, you would not believe how many times people just touch their face after like touching everything.
Oh, I hate it. I mean,
so
I see people sneezing in their hands and then wanting to shake yours.
Yes, and you're like, what? Yes.
It's like,
it's
oh
honestly
my
pretty
Lord, yeah. So the contagion thing, Stephen King started that. Was he the first?
No, he has a really good book, The Stand.
I read
definitely about that.
Read everything.
Yes. The Stand is always stuck with me. But with Stephen King, I would say what's really cool about him is that it's never really just like just that spooky thing, right? It's not just the contagion. It's
Okay.
more about like the people and what happens to society.
Here we are again with our beautiful Gabe Castro at PhillyCAM, telling us about her podcast and her job and PhillyCAM. Just what is PhillyCAM and what do they have to offer for us here in Philadelphia? And you are listening again to Safta Speaks Sanity with Loretta Graham. Now, Gabe, where can we find your
My
podcast?
So you can visit our website at theghouls.nextdoor.com, or we're pretty much anywhere you get podcasts, so iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're not on SoundCloud, but pretty much everywhere else. Just look up Ghouls Next Door.
Okay. Now you said people had to be members here. So how do you become a member?
Yes, so the first step to becoming a member is signing up for one of our info sessions.
Okay.
So online, if you go to phillycam.org, you can sign up for the next available info session that gives you a tour of PhillyCAM, but also gives you an in-depth understanding of what we do here.
Okay.
Second step is paying for membership. Our membership is $30, and that's for the year.
That's great.
So it's and
That's
that
what
gets
got
you
my
access
attention.
to everything,
Yeah.
and then after that, you take the Intro to Community Media workshop, which is usually taught by me, so you get to know me, where I kind of go more in depth on like our policies and procedures and how to get you guys started, on how to take classes and how to submit content and what kind of content can go on the channel. So those kind of nuanced things. But once you've completed that, which is our whole orientation process, you're officially a member, and then you can start submitting content. You can take classes to learn how to use equipment here, which you reserve. You don't rent, right? So that's pretty cool. You don't have to like pay every time you use a camera.
That's powerful right there.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because people are like, they take credit cards. I mean, how much money do you have to put down? But you
Yeah,
don't.
you
It's
don't.
about trust.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's trust. That's what you're really talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's the exchange isn't money. It's just that you put stuff on the channel, right? And that's honestly the best exchange, right? Because
Okay.
your stuff is on TV.
Okay.
But that's what we get in return.
That's awesome. You hear that, Philly? You hear that, Philly? Okay. or any place. I mean, some people
there's a lot
are
of public access
hopefully
stations.
people are listening from all over the place, and maybe that would inspire their towns to start something like this as well. You don't have to be a Philadelphia resident, do you?
You have to be a Philadelphia resident or in the neighboring areas.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you have content, you can find a local sponsor, but we are specifically for Philadelphia.
Okay.
But there are other access centers all throughout the country.
Mhm.
Most states got their access centers significantly sooner than we did.
Oh.
We're actually coming up on our 10-year anniversary, so we're a relatively new
Okay.
public access station.
Okay.
Whereas other people got theirs in like the 80s.
Wow,
So
really?
I'm sure if you guys look it up, if you're not in Philly, they are around.
Wow, that's great. And it is great. It's a gift. It's like a little present all wrapped up.
Yeah.
Right here, snuggled. Where are we now? 7th and Randstead.
Yeah.
In our Independence area of the city. So it is convenient to get to, especially by public transportation. And they do have parking available with a lot right next door. But again, I want to thank Gabe
Thank you for
for
having
being
me.
my guest.
Yes.
And for just being here.
Yeah.
And for turning this into a very user-friendly environment.
Oh,
Where
absolutely.
you don't have to feel intimidated or, stupid, I can't do this. No, there's no dumb questions. You encourage everybody to learn. Doesn't matter how young you are or old you are.
Yeah.
I see you have a whole high school group, don't you?
Yeah, we have a youth program here as well. Yeah, we have some of the most diverse classrooms I've ever seen and been in, because pretty much anybody, like young, old,
Yeah.
any color, any person, any background,
Yeah.
is welcome here. We're
That's-
the community center.
That's terrific. So again, this is Loretta Graham, Safta, with our Safta Speaks. I will learn how to speak Spanish. Yes, that was a Freudian slip. But Safta Speaks Sanity, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. Have a great day or evening. God bless. Bye.